AI is like gravity, right? You can't resist gravity. So if AI is inevitable and going to AI to find your next Amazon agency is inevitable, you need to show up and rank for that. So today, if you type in Amazon agency, I show up number one. LLMs, Google, you name it. Obviously, I've done that over years in content, and you can't get that day one, but you could get in the top 10 within a year easily just by trying. And that's going to be the future of how people find stuff. The other thing too, this is what changed in the last year or two. When people are talking to us, they literally say, we found you on AI. And by the way, we're talking to 3 other Amazon agencies. That wasn't true 2 years ago. It was us or nobody, almost always. So a lot of the AI use cases are going to be on client interaction, things outside of the Amazon portal, creating plans, strategy. The keyword research is a really slam dunk one, very easy to do. I sent your website over to Ken Zhu, my COO, prior to our call, and he built me a couple things for you. So the first thing he did was analyze the website and did an audit of everything. It's not going to surprise you, but your site hasn't been invested in. An AI agent in, 5 minutes put this together. And this basically tells you what to do with your website. So as you can see through this, not only does it tell you what's wrong, but it ranks them, impacts them, tells you what to do. So there's no keyword strategy on the website. Content across service pages doesn't have enough depth. When I was looking at your website, you even had your services in image form instead of text, right? There's no ranking of any kind.
What growth do you really see coming from that, knowing there's bigger agencies like you and everybody else?
There are many small agencies that can outrank big agencies with SEO. That may or may not be a priority. It's definitely not what I would suggest you personally spend your time doing for everything you've told me so far. But this is something that we could come in, turnkey, build it out. If you just want to take this report and try and build it out, that's yours to do as well.
With the lead gen, are you guys with AI pulling leads as well? Like, I know there's these new tools.
Kind of. Scraping exists, and there's a lot of scraping tools. The problem is that Amazon's ecosystem is prohibiting scraping. Pretty obvious why. Whoever controls the data wins. So they want to control their own data. So that's the challenge. So you might be asking that because you don't have the email list to go do this with, and that's a separate problem. So we do have pretty much the largest seller database, and there are places you can buy leads. So that problem can be solved. That's more of a cache problem than it is an AI problem. And unfortunately, AI cannot solve correctly the lead gen part. It can be supplemental, but it's not good enough on its own at this stage. It's not that the AI sucks, it's that the seller data is just so gated. But this one shows like how you would build out those campaigns, gives you subject lines, bodies, examples, etc. So like you could literally take this and run some cold emails out of the box, or you could come back and say, hey, this is 70% baked. Here's how I would change it. This is the thing that I think a lot of people figured out with AI. So 2 years ago, everything was isolated. And today, now it can contextualize and pull it all together. If you can pull the context of the client communications, all of them, not just one of them, but all of them, their brand guide style, your internal SOPs, their data, past results, current results, template, and then click the button, it does it so fast and it brings it all together. So I talked to another guy. He's like, I want to reduce my churn and I want to know when there's an Amber Alert when a client is going to cancel. And I said, cool. Are you recording your calls? He's like, yes. Cool. We could do that. Today, you're using Fireflies and your Fireflies only takes the isolated call and it makes a guess. And sure, if on that one call, the client says, hey, I don't like how things are going, clearly you're going to get an Amber Alert. With AI, you can then contextualize the previous 30 calls and notice that the client used 20% less words or is slower on response times. And they contextualize, okay, normally they were response time of 1 hour in email. Now they're in 3 days. There's a problem. But you wouldn't know that unless you also combine that with invoice payment timelines and their contextualized words, tone, et cetera, and then tie it all together. And you have a much smarter agent. That's one of my favorite use cases that I've figured out. All of your own problems are self-created due to the bottlenecks that you made. And you already know that. The only question is how do you want to solve them? So AI could solve a bottleneck probably every week. True. However, you can't get an AI to take those client calls for you today. you're on 20 weekly or bi-weekly calls. If I was in your shoes, I would hire a brand manager or train one who's an intern and just train them. And in less than 6 weeks, they should be able to take a client call and lead it. And within 90 days, they should lead it without you. And that will buy you back your time so you can spend more time learning the AI to go program the other use cases. That's what I would do if I were you. It's what I did when I was you. The seller central aspects, I don't believe AI can solve for you today. So case logs, none of that. Client communications with emails, which is different than what our file was about, I do think could help you with that. But because you're one-man banding that right now, it's unnecessary. If you were trying to get somebody else to replicate your process, it would work. But here's what you could do. You could set up an agent. I know Claude can do this. I bet you ChatGPT could also do it, but I'm just not as familiar. You could dump in your entire history of all emails you've ever sent. And then when a customer asks you a question, it contextualizes your past answers and then proposes what you respond with. That might be helpful. So that would be one way you could do that. The world is your oyster. You can do anything from here. You could change nothing and still be profitable. You could do some hard work and grow. And that growth may be taxing, but has short-term pain for long-term payout. There are infinitely other choices too. You could hire partners. You could do all kinds of things. Maybe before you even make any of the decisions, AI advances so much and makes your decisions for you. All these things could happen, and we've got an AI singularity event in 2 years.